Hello, welcome back to a series of bad decisions. Uh, since last week's episode was sort of an exercise in pain, this week we're going to do something that makes me happy, which is this guy, this asshole. We're going to talk about my cat. This, for those of you who don't know, is Sebastien. Say hi to the internet, Sebastien. Hi. Yeah, he's kind of an asshole. You can go back to what you were doing, sitting like a person, I guess. Sebastien is 4 years old. I adopted him in Ithaca when I was in college as an emotional support animal. This is like junior year, attempt 1, which is a whole other story. I got him, I went to the shelter and I was like, I want to adopt an adult cat because kittens, you don't know what their personality is going to be like. And if I ask for a certain kind of cat personality, I'm more likely to get it. So I asked for a quiet, cuddly cat. So for those of you who know your cat breeds, you're laughing at me right now because Sebastien is very obviously a tabby. And I had forgotten, even though I grew up with a tabby cat, I had forgotten that tabbies are the second most vocal breed of cats. The most vocal breed is Siamese cats. So I got a cat who I thought was quiet, wasn't. I got a cat who I thought was at least a year old, wasn't. Turns out Sebastian was 7 or 8 months old when I adopted him. He had been, he's a very big boy, in case you couldn't tell. Look at him. He's about 3 feet long and fully stretched out, not including the tail. The shelter was so, in their defense, the shelter was so overwhelmed with cats that since he was already, at 7 or 8 months, he was already about the same size as your average adult male cat. And so he looked to be about a year old. Turns out he wasn't done growing. He wasn't a year old. Hi, yes, we're talking about you. So yeah, if I sound a little scattered, it's because he's here, and I'm not very focused, and also I just got off work. Anyways, so, stop biting me. So what I wound up getting was not a quiet, cuddly adult, but an overlarge 8-month-old loudmouthed asshole, and I wouldn't trade him for the world. Now, here's the thing about Sebastien. He's not very smart. He's also not very graceful. I think something's wrong with his depth perception because he has a long habit of walking off the edges of things. Like it's sort of like when you miss the step, like when you think there's an extra step but there isn't. It's sort of like he's not really sure where the surface ends, so he'll just he thinks it goes on for longer than it does, and he just winds up walking off. The problem is I don't think he ever figured out, I think most more intelligent cats might figure out how to compensate for that. Because he's what he is and who he is, he never figured that out, so he's still walking off of things. He's got a scratching post that I've got specifically wedged in the corner. It's got a little platform on the top. I'll show you I'll insert a picture of it in post. He's got a scratching post. I've got it wedged in a corner so it doesn't fall over because he's a little big for it. And he's very energetic. So, twice now, he's knocked it over while on it. Because even though I've got it, placed specifically so he doesn't knock it over, he still manages it because he's just an accomplished idiot. I love him dearly, though. He's very loud. He's also just, so my dad got us a fresh catnip plant as sort of like a sweet, thoughtful gift from me and my brother because we both have cats. And and Sebastian loves the fresh catnip. He goes nuts for it, like most cats do. And one time I took him outside because he wants to be an outdoor cat very badly, but I don't trust him to be smart enough to survive as an outdoor cat. And also, I'm kind of a helicopter cat parent, I guess. At least in part because Sebastian was basically the only reason I didn't commit suicide for, like, the first 3 years of his life. But that's a little deep for this. So I took him outside, I took him over to the catnip plant because I thought, hey, you want to see where your catnip comes from? This dumbass doesn't even so much as look at the catnip plant I have his face shoved in. Instead, he goes for the fucking dandelion growing behind it. There's an entire plant with multiple, like, stems full of leaves of this thing that you love, and you go for the fucking dandelion. You're lucky you're so pretty. You are very lucky. Anyways, those of you who've seen my other videos with and without him know that he's not quiet either, because he, as one friend commented over a Skype call, he sounds like he just says meow. My sister once informed me that he sounds like a small diseased lawnmower, which is also incorrect. He's just spectacularly atonal. His tail is also weirdly curly, like it doesn't straighten out. I don't know why. Hi. He, like most cats though, he does like to claim surfaces and seats and like acts like they're his, like, cause more than once I've gotten up from this chair to go grab something, and then I've come and I'll come back, 5-10 seconds later, and he's in it, spread out across it, like I wasn't just sitting there. And then he'll get so mad at me when I shove him over to the side. He's like, "We can share this chair. We're sharing it right now," for instance. But he doesn't want to share the chair. It's his chair. It's his chair. He's the cat. He's lord and master of this household, even though he's really at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to the animals. I love him. He's so stupid. I love him. When I first went to the shelter, I had actually gone there with the intent of adopting. I used to visit the shelter with my friend Alice on, Sundays whenever we'd had a hard week. And we'd go hang out with the cats there. And there was this very handsome intelligent tuxedo cat named Batman, who was about, I think, 4 at the time, maybe 4 or 5. He was kept on his own because he had a feline HIV, and so he couldn't be kept in the general population of cats. So I'd actually gone there with the intent of adopting Batman because we bonded so well. But the weekend before, I had gotten adopted by a very nice family, apparently. So, I went in looking for another cat. And there was Sebastien. It was his first day in general population, and he was hiding underneath a sink. And the volunteer who was showing me the cats, after, I said, I want, a quiet, cuddly adult cat. I don't want a kitten. I want a cat, that's already housebroken. That's personality is already set. And it's, by 8 months, let's be honest, his personality was pretty much set. He's an asshole with a thing for sweaty shoes and yelling, who gets along well with other cats, which, since it's been so long since Izzy chased off her sister, no, come back here, this is about you, we're talking about you. You're a pain in my ass. No, don't scratch at that. Get out here. Alright. So, we've forgotten that Izzy just doesn't get along with any animal, even if they're very friendly. So anyways, I see him underneath the sink, and the volunteer's like, "I can drag him out for you." And I was like, what? No, I am a stranger to this cat. If I want to fucking befriend him, I'm not going to start that by dragging him out. That's not how you befriend cats. I mean, nowadays, I won't hesitate to, drag him out from whatever he's under, which is why he hates bedtime, because I sleep with my door closed. So bedtime means he gets locked in my room for the night. So he likes to play a little game where he hides underneath the love seat that he's torn out the bottom of, which pisses my dad off to no end. But there's not much we can do about that. It's just like the weird, like, gauzy stuff on the underside. The actual couch is fine. And he likes to hide underneath it, and I have to drag him out every night. He's an asshole. Or he'll make me, chase him through the kitchen or something. He'll, trot in, circles around the house. Anyways, so I'm like, no, don't do that. I'll just, coax him out. If he doesn't want to come out, it wasn't meant to be. But he came out, and he immediately sat on my lap and was very quiet and sweet, and I fell in love. And I should have remembered that cats frequently have different personalities in shelters than they do at home, especially if it's their first time at the first day in the shelter, like in the general population of the shelter. I mean, it had already been fixed and whatever. You got any shots? No. What a pain in the ass. So they frequently have different personalities. You know, I'd done all this research, but then I saw him and I was like, I love him. I want him. And I fell in love. And I adopted him. You know, he ran away on my 21st birthday. Like I said, he really desperately wants to be an outdoor cat. And I very much don't want him to be an outdoor cat because outdoor cats live extremely much shorter lives than indoor cats, and they're also really bad for local bird populations. Like, you really shouldn't let your cat be an outdoor cat if you live in a remotely non-urban area, or even an urban area, because there's still birds that aren't, like, you know, I mean, like, pigeons carry diseases. Anyways, my point is, he ran away on my 21st birthday, and I was super upset. So I stayed out. I guess somebody wasn't guarding the door very properly, and he snuck out like a sneaky McSneakerson. And so I stayed out all night on a Skype call with some international friends until dawn, when this asshole comes slinking back. Like, he's like anxious and easily startled and vaguely shell shocked, and I almost had a fucking heart attack because I got overexcited in luring him back inside, and he like went darting away because I accidentally rushed him, and I thought he was gone forever and I was never going to see him again, and I know, and no, but he came back and I was a lot more cautious, and then he comes inside and spends the next 3 hours hiding in my closet, because apparently, I can only assume he'd done something we had a bunch of black and very incestuous family of black and white feral cats living in the neighborhood at the time. Eventually, they bred themselves out of existence. Although my brother swears he's seen them in the outdoor mall a few blocks over. But I'm not sure it's the same because we haven't seen those black and whites used to have, you know, go into heat in our backyard. We used to, yeah. Anyways, so those cats are, you know, feral cats, and I don't trust him in an encounter or in a fight against them because he chews his claws and they're not very sharp, even when I don't clip them. And also, he's just generally very stupid. I mean, look at this asshole. Something fell over, and he's immediately startled. Come on, focus. So I've just spent, like, the last 14 minutes discussing this asshole. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, check out more content in the links in the description below for the Dungeon Bad Decisions Discord server, and my blog where I post quotes, anecdotes, and photos from tabletop games I play in at thedungeonbadDecisions.tumblr.com. And to support my Patreon, special thanks again to Crunchy Chompy for being a Game Master's Nightmare, and to Paula, John, and Tarek for being average adventurers. Click here to check out the rest of the series, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Roll 20s, y'all. Go. You can go now. Be free.